Welcome everyone back to the Pommy and Oz YouTube channel. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe, help the channel out. The support has been absolutely fantastic over the draft and going into the off season. And if you can do the solid and become a member of the channel, link is in the description to do that. We're going to be smashing out content coming up now. Members only streams, doing a bit of FIFA, doing a bit of kickback chats, some giveaways, all sorts. So if you can do that for me, do that in the link in the description. And today we're here to talk about Adelaide's off-season. So this week and the next couple of weeks, we're going to be going right through every team, looking at the ins, looking at the outs, having a little bit of a projection of what they're going to do in 2024. At the end of it, we're looking at what their best 22 is, and also give you a draftee to keep an eye on for your own side. And we start with, like we say, the Adelaide Crows. And here they are. Let's have a look. So currently, they have an average age of 24.3, which puts them 14th oldest list in the AFL. A very young team and one that will definitely be challenging for top 8 with 61.6 games played on average between them. That puts them 15th. So a really young list, and they have done really probably the quietest rebuild we've ever seen. Genuinely, the media get on the case of these teams. They really play it out. They get excited. Adelaide just kind of going about their work nice and quietly. And let's look at the players they lost as of now. Tyler Brown, obviously, he was delisted. Tom Doedee was traded. Jackson Haitley, he was delisted along with Andrew McPherson and Tarek Newchurch. And Fisher McCasey and Paul Seedsman, unfortunately, retiring, which you would say, I'd say probably there, Tom Doedee, he's always been injured recently. A big loss. Fisher never quite got going, bless him, just much maligned with health issues. And Seedsman, obviously, as we know, concussion, horrible thing, and he went. But that being said, they lost some players, but I wouldn't say that the players there, the names, maybe Doedee, if he stays fit, I'd be worried about, to be honest. But that being said, Adelaide went very, very hard, didn't they? They really did go hard. And Adelaide went really hard. And obviously they did do one trade. They brought in Chris Burgess, 194, 97 kegs. Cost them peanuts, really. A key forward who has been trialled down back, and also pinch hits in the ruck. Not a really exciting signing, but obviously, you know, Tex Walker, injuries. If he does swing down the back like he has done for Gold Coast VFL side, it's coverage. We know Murray is out early doors. Big coverage for him. But it's also a standard setter, isn't it? I always look at these guys as standard setters when they're playing in your state league side, that if they're better than Burgess, they're going to be all right, aren't they? Because Burgess, no disrespect to him, is probably bang average AFL footballer, and that is a compliment because you're still in the 1%. So don't come at me. But 36 games in his career, 2.1 marks, 0.2 goals, 2.1 score involvements, 2.6 hit-outs. There's nothing there that screams world-class signing. But that being said, training standards are a lot higher at Adelaide. He's probably going to get more opportunity. He's working with some really good players. I don't mind this signing. These are the kind of signings that when you're rebuilding like Adelaide are and no one's talking about it, you bring in these more mature players to help protect the bodies. And it means that you don't have to play a year one in a key position player if you don't need to. And that is very, very valuable and will pay you back in 2025, 2026, 2027 if they're not getting battered on a Saturday ARBOR. So I like this deal, to be honest, and I think he will be more than serviceable for Adelaide when he's called upon. Is he an exciting signing? No, he isn't. But then again, it's hard to get him. And with young players like Thilthorpe and stuff learning the trade, really good to have someone who has been there and done it and been in the system a while to complement him. So that is good. And it means that you can send Thilthorpe to VFM State League football, doesn't it? So there it is. But then they did the big trade. They went hard in the draft. They got, in my opinion, one of the top 3 players in here. An absolute diamond this was at pick 8. 197, 95 keg of Western Australian steak. Danny Curtin joins the Crows. And in a game, and this is what is so important to understand about why Dan Curtin is good. And I'll reiterate what I repeated in the draft. In a system, in a league that literally you can dominate contested ball, you can dominate clearances, stoppage clearances, inside 50 conversion rates. No one cares unless you're a good transition side. And a transition side arguably trumps every stat we can talk about apart from centre clearance. Really? And Danny Curtin does that for breakfast. 6 games, 16.8 touches. This is at waffle level, 5.8 intercepts, 6.5 marks, 4.5 tackles. Can play anywhere as well. Can play up forward, has played in the midfield. I think he will be that third backman who can swing in the key position. A la Jacob Wheatering, a la Sam Taylor. This kid can play football. Incredibly strong in the air, incredibly gifted, has a real good repertoire of kicks as well. If you want that little loopy one, if you want the flat one, if you want the switch, he ain't scared to take it on. Incredibly composed, incredibly strong one-on-one. This is an absolute diamond acquisition. And suddenly, I'm not overstating Adelaide. Since they got him, I look at their list, the youth factor of it, the players they've got in it, I'm like, Jesus, they're serious. They're serious. They are understatedly serious. That team is class from back to front, and they don't need many people to make it upper echelon. An incredible little micro reset, we'll call it. We don't like the rebuild word. Danny Curtin is game one ready, and he will be different, and he's going to learn in a system that is a ball playing side, that is a positive football side. Dan Curtin eats that for butter. And I think it's an incredible acquisition. And I think there's going to be 7 teams in the league who had picks before. Obviously, you can't count Gold Coast. They were matched. So 6 who are probably going to punch themselves in the face when they see how good Dan Curtin is. Big early call. Up next, they brought in Charlie Edwards. We're a big fan of Charlie Edwards here. Pick 21. It was a very good selection. Very well balanced. Can play inside and out. And that is very important because we're going to come on to their team selection very soon. But incredible running capacity, incredible skillful kick, and he's got really good long-term speed, right? It's interesting because even though he's 191 and 85 kegs, there's probably scope here for him to play on the wing because he's got an incredible engine. Very good time trial of 6 minutes 24. Really worth noting. The 12 games for Sandy, 17.1 touches, 3.3 marks, 5.1 score involvements, 2.8 tackles. If players like this are falling in the 20s, you're always going to be in a good little position. And I really like Charlie Edwards. And I think that the one weakness I have with Adelaide is probably the wide positions, which is fair enough. I think they've got a lot of inside talent. I think outside is where they need to look. I think Charlie Edwards can start there. They pinch hit a lot of players there, don't they? They pinch hit Hinge and players of that ilk on that wing. Charlie Edwards could be part of that rotation. And we've seen a lot of successful clubs not have a permanent winger and one that rotates for stints. And depending on what you want, if you want a medium-sized defensive mindseted player or maybe a more offensive sweet kicker inside 50, Charlie Edwards is your man. Lachlan Scholes never really got going, has he really? Dominant at state level, but doesn't quite transfer it in AFL level. Edwards is probably that happy medium for them. And I really am excited about this kid, and I think he will play year one. And look out for him. I'm a big fan. And then we want rebound. We talked about transition. 187 centimetres, 77 kegs. Oscar Ryan. Maybe taken a bit early. Murray Bushrangers boy, though. And he was literally a rock down back last year. And Murray Bushrangers are a real tough team when you watch them. Very counter press. Very, very turning defence into attack. Incredibly strong defensively. And a big thing about Oscar is he can play on the bigger guys, much aplomb, or play on the lower guys. And he's got an incredible turn of pace. And you look at some of the players that have gone through at halfback at Adelaide. Milwera, Laird, Dawson. These players now are playing in the midfield and a variety of other positions. Oscar Ryan will see that model, and I think that every team has that guy that can turn it with running power, and Oscar's got that. And a very good year as well. 21.9 touches, 5.2 marks, 7.9 intercepts, 4.2 tackles. This guy's good on the deck, but he's also good in the air. And like you say, he's a stifler. And I really like Oscar, and I think he will be. He's got a few niggle injuries at the moment. I think maybe later in the year, maybe post by round 18 when you start feeding him, look out for him, but really check out his Sandford results. Oscar's going to be a nice little tasty pickup in them 20s. And then this is what we went with the team. So this is the end of the year 22, what we think it may be. So we've gone Jordan Butts at fullback. I reckon that they'll float Curtin and Murray from that pocket position, like lots of teams do. Carlton do it. Melbourne did it in their flag year. So did Richmond, where they played three key position players almost, one of them being the interceptor. And then if they've got a more dynamic forward, Curtin will go centre-half back. I like that. Very good one-on-one ratio. And with Curtin there now, they've got that kicking prowess. Big Maxi, Wayne Milwera and Brodie Smith make up the back six. I really like that back six on paper. It looks strong. I think that Wayne Milwera's spot will be subject to Oscar Ryan's development. I think if you add Oscar Ryan there, you've got great ball use and line-breaking penetration and kicking penetration with Danny Curtin. We've gone Schoenberg and Hinge on the wings for now with Dawson, the centre man. Keys, we know, will float through there. Fogarty centre-half forward. Josh Rochelle and Isaac Rankine, I suspect, to get more pinch hitting midfield time and giving them a real big POD around stoppages. Riley Thilthorpe and Tex Walker make up the forward line with Riley O'Brien, Matty Crouch and Rory Laird definitely making up the followers line. And then the interchange, I reckon Charlie Edwards and Sam Berry. I think Sam Berry's one to watch this year, a real big thug in that midfield. I think he'll get going. We've got Chris Burgess there, and then we've got Rory Sloane. And Rory Sloane was kind of like the last one there. I think in an ideal world, he's converted to maybe a half forward or maybe a half-back, ball-using half-back. And then you've got one of the younger boys in. So I think there, when you look at that there's a lot of players that, when you look at it, it'll be interesting to see who makes it, because you've got Bolassi, you've got players like Braden Cook that we haven't seen, Billy Dowling, Golan, Will Hamill, these type of players, Pedler, these type of players that we're really expecting big years from. And don't forget Zachy Taylor as well. I reckon they'll be in and about. But for you Crows fans, you South Australians, who are you looking at next year? I want to showcase this guy, right? He is bound to you guys. As we know, Tyler Welsh is an incredible little footballer coming out of South Australia, playing for the Woodville Torrens. An incredible key forward, let's be honest. He played this year as an underager, father-son prospect. This could be a really, really exciting time. He was actually down at Icon Park and he took the piss. Scott Welsh, obviously 205 gamer for your mob. An incredible footballer is his son, already 191 and 83 kegs. Incredibly mobile, incredibly strong aerially, and he's got an absolute sweet set shot. And we look at the under-18 state championships, 2 games, 7.5 touches, 3 marks, 3.5 goals a game. This guy is deadly. And what a player to replace Tex with in the next couple of years. Tex sticks around for 2 years. Tyler hones his trade. That forward line, Fogarty, Thilthorpe and Tyler Welsh. Boy, oh boy, it's good. What do the picks they own? You've got your future first. You have your second with Melbourne, then your third and fourth. More than enough picks to match. Should be a top 5 player, this guy. Maybe a smoky for pick 1 even. Check it out. But this guy here, an incredible footballer. And really get excited. And I really implore you to keep your eyes on next season. Really familiarise yourself with this kid, because this kid is going to be a talent. It's going to be a really interesting season next year. But Adelaide, they've got this player coming in. Other players maybe to keep an eye out if you try and trade ahead. Cade Herbert is definitely one that I'd look at. And probably one of my favourite players in the draft, Phoenix Hargrave. Another midfielder that can play inside and out. Should you be looking at Rory Sloane replacements long term? I think Charlie Edwards will get that job, but you can never have too many mids. That's Adelaide Crows. We're doing this alphabetical order. This should take us over till Christmas, which is insane. So thank you very much for your support. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Share this with an Adelaide Crows friend. If you're not an Adelaide Crows fan, watch this video, learn something about the Adelaide Crows. They are going to be a top 8 team, so you're going to have to knock these boys off if you want to be in there. Much love, everyone. Stay safe. Pom out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella